Welcome to Curious Chimps podcast. I'm your co-host Nathaniel Pearl.
And I'm Sammy Sheva.
And welcome.
We here at Curious Chimps are law-abiding citizens. We do not endorse anything illegal. And anything we discuss is for entertainment and not information purposes. We are not experts, and nor do we claim to be. So please, consult doctors, do your research, read the label, and for the love of all that is holy, be safe. All right, let's talk about drugs.
Curious Chimps.
This is going to be a crazy one. So, we got fucking Marky Beats.
Hello.
And this fucking guy just took a bunch of ayahuasca and also a meditation retreat.
Like just now? No.
Like literally an hour ago. No, I did ayahuasca 13 days ago. Or no, 15 days ago. And then the retreat was 3 days after for 10 days in silence.
Beautiful.
We got time. We'll get into it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like, let's
That
give you the
scares me.
fucking light for the time being.
Sure.
Like, hi.
Hello.
I've been fucking dying to have you on, man.
Yeah, same. I've been excited to come on. I've been thinking about it.
Sammy's been raving about you for a while now.
Raving.
Like, off podcast, I just like know you guys would be friends kind of thing.
And I feel like, yeah, I think
And there's like a
we've actually
pressure
already
now.
met
Yeah, that's-
at least once, I think.
It's crazy
Yeah.
because we rolled at the same. You came to the gym.
Sparred, yeah.
So
Who won,
funny.
bro? Who won?
Probably you. I think you dummied me.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
I think I was a blue belt when I was there.
Okay.
I got the floor mopped with my body.
What, you're like high perp now? Like you're
Yeah.
like mid perp?
Yeah, some
Yeah.
would say on the cusp.
Oh.
But I don't want
to.
I don't want to jinx it or say anything, but
Yeah.
To get to the brown.
yeah.
Very
yeah.
cool. Nice.
Whenever that happens, it happens.
Oh yeah. Nice.
You're not supposed to talk about it.
It's like
It's Fight
a
Club,
hush
literally.
hush.
You're not supposed to talk to your coach about it. That's
No.
what you're not supposed to talk.
That's
yeah.
like the rule number one.
Yeah.
You know, I learned that pretty early on. I was like, when I was a white belt, I'm like, when am I getting my blue belt? He's like, you're 6 months in,
Yeah.
dude.
You just added a month.
You just guess what? You just
It's so funny.
I can't wait to get into
just
it, man.
pulled
You guys are gonna
landscaping
wreck
duty.
me.
you came to train a few times.
It was like 2 or 3 weeks there. Like I just jumped in and everyone was so cool. But like I hurt myself on the first day, and your
Yeah.
teacher was like, "You got hurt already?" And I was
no.
like, "Yep."
He was so let down by the fact.
Dude, he was so discouraged because I was like, it was complicated about like paying also, and he
okay.
was just like, I hate this guy. Like
Aw.
who brought this guy here? No, but he's cool, obviously. But it's like the pains of some dumb newbie, you know, like.
Yeah.
Oh,
And my body's not ready even to this day.
They call
I'm
the
just
first year the survival year. It's like you're
It's-
just getting your ass handed to you over and over and over
I
again.
think I'm ready now.
It's not easy on the body. I mean, I don't do any like striking arts, but I can imagine it's only worse to get kicked and punched. But still, like if you spar hard, like you're gonna be.
Oh yeah. Oh,
There's always injuries.
I don't know if we even mentioned we're talking about jiu-jitsu for everyone who's
Yes,
listening.
we're talking about
the
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
jits.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's like a grappling art that we just mostly happening on the floor. It's submissions, chokes.
Mhm.
Whoever's
all the-
listening who doesn't know what jiu-jitsu is, that's impressive. I
At
guess
this
it
point,
happens. Yeah.
in the Joe Rogan era,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty. Yeah, it would be strange if you didn't know what it was.
It's funny because at the silent retreat, everyone noticed my ears probably like day one, but they couldn't talk to me. So like after the retreat, like when the silent was lifted, everyone's coming up to me like, "Yo, dude, you're a fighter."
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Like,
The
Did you make some
telltale sign.
friends in
Yeah.
that last day there? It's like 10 days of silence, and then suddenly you're like, "Oh, you remember that time we farted or whatever?" It's 10 days of I can't talk to you.
we really clicked, a group of us, like before the thing started, and then we caught up again after the thing. Of like a good 4 or 5 of us. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
I can't imagine.
we were all Rogan fans, so it was like,
of course.
yeah.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
right away, you already know you guys connect on a
We've
level.
talked about Vipassana, right? Like you just 10 days silence, you meditate like for 8 hours a day.
We
practically.
have, yeah. I haven't thought too much about it. I mean, that seems like an incredibly healthy thing to do.
I don't think you need it. You seem so chill from the outside.
Honestly, I live alone in a studio apartment, and it's like it's basically that anyway. Like I spend. I mean, I love my time alone now. It's been 3 years now that I've had my own spot. Like I was either living with roommates or with a girlfriend or with my mom and dad for my whole life. So now I finally have Vipassana all the time,
yeah.
and it's very amazing.
See, I'm getting a glimpse of that because my roommate moved out like I think 3 or 4 months ago. So like now that I have the whole apartment to myself, and it's just like this fucking Zen cave. Where
Yeah.
I walk around, I'm like, holy
I
shit.
feel it when I walk in. I mean, your place too. I mean, like this guy's fucking doing some crazy shit. Like
What kind of crazy shit?
well, like
you should
he's-
come, man.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah,
I'd
like-
love
yeah.
to.
We do. You ever heard of rapé?
on this podcast. I've
Okay.
heard because I've been listening. Yeah.
Oh, sweet, man.
I've never tried it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just for the listeners, we've already spoke about it many times, but briefly, it's like Amazonian tobacco with a bunch of other shit inside.
And it's a snuff, so you
Yeah. Yeah.
up the guy's nose.
Yeah, I get shot up the nose, one in each nostril, and it's supposed to really bring you to like this calm, centered state of mind.
Okay.
Doesn't even change you, and like when you smoke weed, you're a little bit more laughy and stuff. This actually just like sobers you up to like such an intense level where
It's like your
almost
brain
like the-
drops anchor.
It's like an anti-drug almost.
I literally
yeah.
said that. It's perfect.
That's crazy.
but that's like the best thing
Are
to
you
describe
quoting
it.
me, motherfucker?
no.
Did I say that shit on the podcast?
You did, but I
Maybe
think you
I
did,
did.
like episode 2. But yeah, so it's like this super sobering experience, and like everything is quiet in your mind, and you can really just experience your like vibration and stuff. It's really cool.
That sounds useful.
Yeah,
I'm
so,
sure you dig it.
So we
Yeah.
do it every Friday night at my place. We have a little ceremony
Fridays.
going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
But
time?
you have like
I work
routine,
every Friday night. Yeah, I play drums
Okay.
for a living.
you're a drummer.
A drummer. Yeah, so like starting at 10:30, usually at some bar in the city, I'll be playing drums till
cool.
till 2:30 in the morning.
I love how you said that's like your day job now. Like
It's kind of like a day job, yeah, because
like you dreamed of it once, and now you're like, ugh, I gotta go play drums for rent.
Yeah, I mean it's a weird thing. Like it feels like a day job because I've been playing drums since I was like 8 years old.
Nice.
So it feels like I'm just going to the bar to do a shift of something. Like it's fun. I mean I'm grateful that I get to do this and I can make rent off that and stuff.
But a
But
job's a job.
A job is a
eventually.
job, yeah. But it's like it's a day job even though it's at night because at my place during the day I'm aspiring to be a producer. I'm aspiring to make like laptop pop music basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Marky Beats.
Marky Beats, baby.
Fuck, I used to be big in producing beats from age 12 to 17. I had a whole studio and everything.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, man. I was had the Yamaha Motif
Keyboard?
ES. Yeah, the
Yeah.
workstation keyboard. I had I had like a mixer, another synthesizer. I was just jamming, man.
Serious.
Yeah, and then at 17 I just stopped. And
Why?
I don't know, man. I lost it for a while, and now I'm kind of getting back into my artistic side.
Mhm.
I started the guitar and stuff like that.
Dude, he sent me a poem like this morning or last night. And and today he sends me a video, but right before leaving, he just like banged out like a riff. Like he's like, yeah, this sounds more like a song than a poem, and he just like made a song in 10 seconds. And I was like,
Like
what
a-
the fuck, bro? You're
Like a riff that would go underneath the
Yeah, I just like
like
sing
you
along.
just
you know?
maybe a riff is a wrong riff.
No, I think it's
just
the right word.
You
Riff.
put some chords on it, and it's
Yeah.
like a song already.
Cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's,
Cool.
I just got to reconnect to that side because it's such a beautiful side to have.
It is.
You know?
It is.
Oh, side note, this guy's your new massage client.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Just
baby.
BT dubs.
I need that.
Oh yeah.
I just like I'm gonna forget. So like,
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
he's like jitsing all the time.
I
His
jits a
body's
lot.
all busted up.
I competed last weekend, the weekend before.
Dude, I saw that video and I did not understand what was going on, but I was watching like,
Well, I only shared the one that I won.
yeah, that's it.
Have you ever heard of the quintet? It's like
No.
a format of competing. It's 5-on-5, so it's like a team-based thing.
Okay.
But you fight one at a time. So you guys like before the fight, you decide on the order of the fighters, and each team gets to choose like who goes first, and then subsequently up to 5. And then it's a sub only thing. So if nobody submits anybody, you're both out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and
What's
so
the time
In
on
a
that?
time.
the
yeah.
time is 8-minute rounds. But if there's, I think if like the weight, if there's a big, if the gap between the guys is like too big, then I think it goes down to like 4 minutes or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Did Eddie Bravo make this shit up? Because he keeps making
No,
like
I
games
think-
out of jiu-jitsu.
I could be wrong, but I think Sakuraba started the first one
Okay.
in Japan, like
Cool.
maybe
So this is old school.
like a year ago though. No, it's like it's
okay,
like a new
okay.
thing. It's like a new
Really?
kind of
Beautiful concept.
a format. Yeah.
Wow.
So they had a purple belt quintet in Ontario, like in Oakville or something like that. And one of my teammates, do you know Francis Saint Amour?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think we competed against each other a long time ago.
Yeah. So he got his brown belt, and then he wasn't allowed to do the purple belt event. So he was like, Marky, can you sub in for me? And it's really
that's
hard
so
for me to
funny.
get a weekend off, right? Like, so it just so happened that the guy that I play with, Shane Murphy, shout out Shane Murphy. We had a gig that night in Toronto, which is really close to where this event was held. So I drove over the night before. I slept there. I competed in the morning, and then I went to play the gig at night.
Fuck yeah.
Wow, the stars aligned.
It was,
for real.
yeah, it totally aligned. It was
Wow.
like go fight.
That's really cool. That's so funny that he got his brown and he's like, yes, and then it's like, oh fuck, I can't go compete.
Yeah,
That's even
yeah.
more stars aligned moment.
Yeah.
It's like, did you have fun, man? I didn't even
I
ask.
had a lot of
you know?
fun.
Like,
I was stressed. It's a stressful thing.
That's it. I got that
Yeah.
part.
Like you compete.
Yeah, back in the day, I competed a lot, and I
Yeah.
remember that stress. I never
Yeah.
enjoyed that moment.
No.
Like you just feel like you have something you can't finish swallowing. It's just stuck in your like your sternum area. You know?
Man, that's like my whole life. Like I feel like going, you know, like to go from being afraid of something and facing it, just that act over and over again. Like that's how I like to.
That's right.
yeah.
Whether
you feel like
it's
that
I'm
from
with
the
you on
moment
that.
you
yeah,
wake up.
yeah. I mean, like whether
Maybe that's
it's,
why you're winning, bro.
I don't know if I'm winning, but it's like whether it's a gig or it's like a session with a client that's maybe like a little bit higher profile than like what you normally do, and so you want to make sure that it's happening.
Yeah.
Or a competition. Like I like that. I like to feel
The
that
uncomfort zone.
to feel that stress, and then to step into it and then see what happens, because you might win and you might lose, but it's, to me, the value is just taking that step. And
Hell yeah.
yeah,
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Is when you go into that unknown zone.
that's what makes you feel good after.
Yeah. Oh, the best.
Yeah, because I got I tapped the first guy, and then I had to fight the next guy like right away, and he was like 6 foot something, like really big.
And you're gassing out a little bit.
I was a little tired, but to be honest, like I got a little sloppy because like I was knee slicing through his guard. Like if you don't know the sport, you might not know what I'm saying. But I
too
was
bad.
like slicing through his guard, and the guy had such long legs that he just like threw up a triangle.
Okay.
And I thought I was in a safe space. You know what I mean? Like I thought I had enough of a distance between me and him, and he just like closed it up on me. And that was lights out. I was done.
Damn.
But even though I got tapped, I was so happy that I did the thing. I just went and I saw what happened. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's even win or lose. It's always a good time. You know.
It's always a good time,
You
for
know?
sure.
I
Do you feel kind of relieved also?
Yeah,
Like it's over
yeah.
and you're just like,
A part of that is definitely the relief, to know that now you don't have to do anything.
but you did it too.
But I
so
did
it's like,
it.
oh, I'm just on the other side of this time.
Yeah, you just
but
kind
I
of like
did the
high five
thing.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like I did it. That was great.
Man, back in the day, we're talking 5-6 years ago, the competitions were so disorganized. They're probably still as disorganized. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're not legal in the province anymore, so you have to go outside.
It's true,
yeah.
Yeah, that happened 1 year ago, I think, or 2 years ago.
Something like that.
Not legal in Quebec.
Yeah, well, it's partially because of what you were saying, like because there were a lot of different groups that were organizing these things. They were very disorganized,
Yeah, it's chaos, man.
and
just
I think
makeshift.
I
It's
think
like
they
some
actually
dudes.
started to call the cops on each other,
Yeah, and they fucked each other up.
and they
That's what
fucked each
happened.
other up, and then eventually the government was like, "All right, and this is not like none of this is allowed until you guys get an association." And we still don't have an association. And the same thing happened in Ontario, and they have an association, and they're back allowed to compete again.
Yeah.
So it's just us here in here in
Gotta get our
Quebec,
shit together.
taking our time,
Speaking of competitions, I was just talking to David Aguzzi. You know that guy there?
His name rings a bell, but I don't.
He started the grappling industries.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so we're actually going to get him on the podcast in like a month from now.
Amazing.
Sick. You know
Like
the
he-
coolest people,
Yeah,
man.
he's a cool guy, but like he started this small local tournament, and now it's just this giant international thing going
It's
on.
world. No, it's in North America.
Yeah, I think he has some in Australia too.
Okay, so it's pretty much.
Yeah, it's
You can say it's
International.
worldwide, international.
yeah, man, it's pretty cool. So we used to do his competitions back in the day, and out of all of them, those were pretty much the most organized I've been
Yeah.
part of. Yeah, it's cool, man.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking. No, I'm kidding.
Competing, stress,
Yeah.
self-induced stress,
That I understand.
stress by choice. you
I'm
know?
getting the undertones. I understand all
Yes,
the emotional
yes,
stuff.
yes.
But I'm just like, I'm tapping out of this conversation. I'm just like, all right, jiu-jitsu.
tap
I want you guys to be friends. I'm just like, yes, talk more.
Yeah, man.
Talk about music, talk about life, dude, this guy's all in electric theory and stuff. Like we could talk about,
Electric
Oh man,
theory.
that's
oh,
like
I told you about
that's
it.
a new
Yeah, you
thing
didn't know
for
what it
me.
was.
It's not really a new thing for me, but it's kind of I have like a renewed interest in it.
we were talking about it with Jay like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I remember like 5 years ago, there were the first YouTube clips about it and about how I think it was called like Symbols of an Alien Sky.
Yeah.
And it was about how
That's what I told you about. Yeah, he's like
it was about how like I mean I'll see if I can do like the spark notes of this.
Yeah.
But basically
I tried, it's weird.
Basically the drawings like in caves, I guess, all throughout the world, they depicted the sun as being like a dot in the center of a wheel, like if you can imagine like the way like a wagon wheel looks, there's like spokes on it, but it was like this all over the world, like it was not as
at
if,
the same time.
yeah, because like some people might assume that if they drew it, that it doesn't mean that that's exactly what they saw, like it could have been a artistic, like a representation of something else or some kind of a symbol for something. But the fact that you see the same image all over the world, like through from all different kinds of individuals,
holy shit,
shows that like it's probably more of a literal drawing than a symbol, right?
So it's the sun with spokes around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you're like, what does this mean? Why is that even a thing? And basically, a group of scientists worked out that like that's what it would look like if the planets were aligned in a different way, and if electricity was the main force driving the solar system instead of gravity.
It's like static electricity from the planets being in a different, like being closer to each other. Or something.
Yeah,
I don't
and so like all the mythology of like the planets like throwing lightning at each other and like there being like the gods being angry at each other is because they were literally like lined up in a static electric like situation.
Oh,
yeah. And
I think I might have mentioned it on the podcast. I'm not sure. I talked about how like maybe a lightning bolt created the Grand Canyon like in 10 seconds instead of it being like water over a bajillion years. It's just like this fucking
because it could be like a chicken or the egg kind of a situation where just because what I mean, like the water could have eroded it, or if there's a big hole, water's going to collect in the big hole. So you don't really know.
Find the path there, kind of thing. Like this, there's no resistance. Yeah, that makes sense.
But then recently, I was talking to my mom and dad. Like they're my dad's a dentist, my mom's a physio, but they're both into like I don't know like how you could describe it, but
esoteric
like
nonsense.
esoteric nonsense knowledge, or just like alternative ways of approaching health, right?
I say nonsense in the most positive way ever because the sense
because
that I'm surrounded by is boring.
Yeah.
It might not be sense. I'm not going to argue that, but anyway.
Yeah. And my dad's been like talking to me about how the body is electric and how your cells essentially like all they need to function properly is the right charge, aka the right pH, and the building blocks to create what they need to make with, right? So like you just need the right nutrients, the right like the right essential elements and the right voltage. And he was saying that like the mainstream doesn't really look at the problem that way, so they might not be cluing into what's happening, but a lot of the research that he's been reading about shows that when your body starts to be sick or starts to not behave in the right way, it's because if you look at it where if you look at the problem area, the voltage is always low, like the pH is always fucked up. And so I didn't put the two together, but he was like, yeah, go look at this thing. And it fits in with the electric universe model. And I was like, dude, the electric universe model, I heard about that 5 years ago.
Oh shit. And
so like this week I've been back on the old YouTube looking at all these things about the electric universe model and just having my mind blown.
Oh, I didn't get to check that video.
Dude,
out.
they made it's called Project Sapphire. Okay. So
great name. So
like the classic model of the sun and of all the planets is that the sun is basically a campfire, right? It's like a nuclear reactor in the sky, fusing elements and then producing all these heat, obviously light, electricity, ions, all these things. And there's also like certain elements that you find on the surface of the sun. And I say they find because they can analyze what
it's
they
like
see.
A light spectrum thing,
right?
Yeah,
like you can actually go to the sun and take a sample home with you,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hydrogen.
And but so these people at the Electric Universe Model School are assuming that the sun is not a nuclear reactor, but it's actually what they call a Z-pinch in a plasma field.
Z pinch.
So like, I don't know if we can look it up right now, but basically it looks like a bow tie. So like when a plasma field converges, in the middle you get like arcing, you get like plasma arcing. So like you get what looks like a sun, like a ball of plasma.
Cool.
And you also get, and like they've done experiments where they can like recreate the kind of plasma arcing that they think the sun is in a small lab. And after the fact, after the arcing stops, they go in and they look at the elements that they find there, and lo and behold, the process synthesizes all the same elements that they think are on the surface of the sun. So they're realizing that like just the act of conducting electricity through a Z-pinch creates these elements.
Wow.
And it's like gravity is actually just us being like electromagnetically linked with the sun. So like
that part I remember. That was the funnest thing, where like so many other like physicist people jumped on that bandwagon, where it's like, yo, everything's actually electricity.
Everything.
Or like energy, if you want to like, I don't even think that's correct, but it's like there's this general one force of the universe, and then we're like, oh no, but it acts like this when it's like a nucleus of an atom, and it acts like this when it's the sun, and it's like, no,
it's just this.
It's all magnetism, and it's like,
yeah, and that's
I don't get it.
I think that's kind of why we have all these like separated sciences, where you have like stuff like how do I say that, the small.
I said the disclaimer, man. You
yeah.
can say whatever you want.
The science. So like the way we have it now, the science of the small has nothing to do with the science of the big, right?
Yeah, there's like
the cosmic and like the subatomic.
I mean, we're getting there. A lot of the numbers make sense, but there's a lot of rounding.
Yeah,
that's what people don't know.
Yeah,
like the speed of light's not constant and shit like that. And it's like, oh, we get it because space is like this over here.
It's not constant, right? And so like if all of our equations assume that it is, then things are not going to line up at some point.
Well, you're shaving shit down so it fits the whole kind of thing.
And again, I'm a drummer. Like I have no idea. I'm just watching YouTube just like everybody else. But I find it fascinating that
is there like some big name physicists and scientists that are supporting these, or is this still like super? I wouldn't
even know who a big name scientist is.
Yeah, there ain't no fucking Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse.
No, it's no.
Google Eric Dollard. That guy lives in the fucking desert now, but he talks about how the sun's a fucking like portal into another dimension or some shit, And it's
right. But I mean, like this to me, this seems like if you watch the video, it's really straightforward. Like it's kind of like, oh yeah, of course it's like that. And
but the problem with those kind of videos is I have no background
same.
in science of physics and all that. So like I'll agree to whatever they say because they'll probably explain it with nice words and very scientific and show me some samples and tests. I'll be
you need like someone in school who's not like indoctrinated fully yet, but who really gets it and then starts like deviating their education towards it almost. Because someone who kind of goes past that is like, no, that's not how it works.
That's the thing is like my mom and dad, like my brother went to med school.
Wow.
But he's like quite I wouldn't say he's like the opposite of out there. Like he's
the black sheep.
He's the black sheep. Yeah. Me and my dad are like, let's do LSD and talk about
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
right?
he's a chill dude. But all that said, like my dad did do a lot of that. Like he is a dentist. He did go through a lot of the schooling that a doctor does. And like he'll say that a doctor for the most part just spits out what they learned in school. So just because you got into med school and you were able to learn all that stuff and to retain all that stuff doesn't mean you have the right answers. It means you've retained
100%. Yeah,
you have a good memory.
Yeah.
You're not in the lab. Like
no,
unless you're doing forefront bleeding edge shit, you're just not learning anything new, adding anything new. Like I don't know how doctorates work, but apparently you have to write like a dissertation and you have to like add to the literature. But how can every single fucking doctor be like one-upping?
Well, this is
information.
I don't think my brother had to do like a thesis to get his like undergrad. No, it's not an undergrad. It's a graduate degree, but it's like the basic medical degree. I think that's just like 5 years of school, and then you go on and you specialize.
Yeah,
it's not the same as like a doctorate in any other kind of a field. Where there you have to write a thesis and you have to have.
I guess like they need people. And it's kind of good
they
to
need
lower
bodies.
the bar. Yeah.
It's very competitive though, the med field.
It is, yeah.
Which is good, I guess.
One of my
he had a
buddies is
4.0.
an ER doctor.
Damn.
Yeah.
And to get in, he told me it was like a pool of like 70 applicants, and they were accepting I think 1 or 2, and he got in. Like,
It's hard.
yeah, like you can have like an insane GPA and still there's like an interviewing process where they feel you out. They throw like these crazy kind of like situational questions, and based on your answers, they're gonna take notes, and then that's how they select. It's like really, really interesting.
They even have an exam where they have actors who come and like play out a situation, and it's about how you handle it. It's about people skills. Like,
That's what he was telling me.
But you're just acting. That's
well,
kind of
you're not. I mean, you're not acting. You're reacting how you would react, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not bad at
there's
that.
actors who are.
I'm
who
not
are
good
like,
at that. I mean,
You're like, I know you're just kidding.
yeah, it's like I am not an actor. I'm a doctor. What's happening here? It's
You
Like
gotta
Sammy,
get a
just
nice X around
Sammy,
your
just
name.
please pretend for 1 second. You're like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I'm a nervous smile. Like,
We'll cut you short, Sammy. Thanks very much.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
thanks for coming.
this guy's an idiot. Check.
yeah, but I mean, like, we don't really know.
Did I just hear a knock?
What we don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know. I think you heard that. Yeah, I mean, like, we don't know what we don't know, and doctors don't know what they don't know. So there's always going to be this,
loss of philosophy, because it's like you need to specialize just to become a doctor who then specializes.
Right. So it's like the ones who are in the system are not really always looking outside the system for the future answers.
Specialization, that's a definition. Like, you're literally zooming in, so you lose the peripheral.
Yeah.
Like, I always say that's my problem. It's kind of my superpower. I realize that's just who I am, and I got to lean into it. But like, I can't see the details. Like, that makes me dumb in a lot of situations. But I love the bigger picture. I lose people when I talk to them, and I think I'm just talking about normal shit.
You're the hunter, not the gatherer, right?
I think both need focus.
You're the
I think
broad.
I think I'm the douchebag who's like, why are we hunting? why don't we grow corn
Just
and
go to
like then I ruin
McDonald's.
society? Yeah. Oh God, I don't. But it's like, it's weird to say there's a lot of in philosophy and any kind of spiritual practice, and even becoming a doctor, anything, you just realize like human is human. But it's like, no, man. Some people need to fucking be awake at night. Some people need to eat a bunch of carbs. Some people need to fucking like run all the time. Some people need to talk about the big picture.
But
Some
then,
people
like,
need to talk
what?
about the details.
But why? Like, what is it? Your DNA? Like DNA? Even if like just like genes is such a crazy field.
Yeah.
Because genes are a superconductor. Like, your DNA, like the actual stuff, is a superconductor, and it's the only known superconductor that exists at room temperature, which is crazy. And why is it a superconductor?
That's
Because you're
insane.
fucking electric, right? It's wild.
That was like an accidental motivational. You're fucking
You're
electric.
fucking
man.
electric. Yeah.
but no, literally.
Yeah, but it's almost like it's like some sort of a liaison with like the consciousness dimension that just creates a vehicle
Yeah.
for you to inhabit. It's such a trip.
I just say like, hey, bodies are weird, but like, you're getting into it.
No, they're really weird. They're really weird. They're really weird. And like, yeah, again, I'm not a doctor, but I live with a couple doctors. I have lived with a couple doctors.
But there's like this armchair everything now, you know? Like,
Yeah.
everyone's a kind of like me and this guy, we're just like, I mean, okay, you're an expert in martial arts at least, you know? Like, you have a deep music background. I don't really have any kind of, I just like read stuff on the internet and talk a lot and think a lot. I have this kind of like Buddha thing. I mean, I don't want to fucking say that I'm a Buddha,
it's true. It's
but
true.
I just look in forever, and it's like a problem, but it's also fun. But like, we just no one's a real expert,
Yeah,
and
you can't
the
know.
ones who are just regurgitating.
The
shit.
one, yeah, but also the real experts, like I feel like the real ones, the real black belts, still have that white belt mentality, and they're like,
Yes.
man, I've got this far, but like we still don't know shit. There's
Master
still so
in
much
training.
That's a valuable trait to have.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people that are highly educated that lose that value, and that's
You need to swing a big dick if you're gonna fucking cut a guy open and save
Well, that's
his
the
life.
thing,
you know?
is
It's
like-
a good thing.
is like, you know, that's when social animal like instincts start to kick in. Is like, you're not really in it for the quest anymore, for the knowledge anymore. You're in it for for you. You're in it for, swinging your dick.
That's
You're
where
a
that
tool.
ego.
That's where the ego comes in.
Swallowing up all your experience and just inflates itself.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, isn't that kind of egoless too? Because you're sacrificing yourself to become a tool. You're like, just I'm gonna harbor. Yeah, I'm gonna harbor this information. I'm gonna let it imbue me, or I'm gonna imbue it with a body, with life, and you're gonna be a walking medical information.
That creates
thing
blind
just,
spots, though.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck in this.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah, but
like,
I mean,
you don't need you. Blind spots are important.
yeah,
It's like you need it. Like it sucks, but it's
they're
like
going
most
to
people
exist
shouldn't-
forever. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's our job to be continually trying to look at them and close them up. That's always going to open new blind spots. Like I can't imagine a time when we know everything.
Yeah,
But it's
we
important to
need
look
each
at the
other,
blind
yeah.
spots and not just be like, oh, those are just the blind spots. I guess we'll never
what's
know.
Scary is the experts that don't pay attention to blind spots.
Yeah.
Like that's like, and they're spewing out their knowledge, and it's like you can't challenge their anything.
Yeah.
It's just like so set in stone for them.
It's like there's two worlds going on. Yeah, like you see like what's his name, Gabor Mate or something.
The psychologist, no?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the way he talks about addiction is like it's like this forefront shit where it's like the last 20 years, like he's just been like, yo, we're doing everything wrong, and it's
Yeah.
like some people are paying attention to him. And a bunch of other people aren't, and they're getting the wrong information, or they're just doing it differently. They're going to see it doesn't work. Like he's on the up and up kind of thing, and it's like the way we're evolving now, in this kind of individual lifetime way, in this kind of like mental way. Our bodies aren't really evolving anymore. It's this blind spot thing.
I mean, maybe they are, but I don't know.
I guess they have to be, but it's
Yeah.
like that doesn't
Did you see the
factor in. It's like millions of
Did you
years.
see the photo of the future office worker? How the body's gonna look?
No,
Oh my God.
No, I think it was like a 30-year prediction, and it was like this lady that like shrunk her. She had like a huge kyphosis on her neck, like that little camel hump.
Yeah.
But her head was like, it kind of looked like a snail's head, like it was really curving.
Yeah, like
And her
like in
whole
Star Wars
body
or
was
some
just morphing into this like cocoon. It was the scariest picture, man. I wish I could
little
find
T-Rex
it.
hands
so I
for
can
the
type.
typewriter.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna type.
Yeah, and they're just like huddled over your seat, typing in the computer with your neck like completely changed. It was really scary to look at.
my neck does that.
Ew.
I tried fixing it, but I just computer neck, and it's a lot because of glasses.
True.
Like if I stand up straight, I lose half my vision.
gotta
That's
raise
why I
that-
bought big glasses.
You gotta
Like,
raise the screen, bro.
yeah, that helps actually a
Because
lot.
if that thing starts forming, that calcium deposit, oof.
You can't get
It's
rid
hard
of it.
to undo that.
It depends. In the early stages, you can kind of break it down, but once it's there, it's there. And
You have to get it like shaved off.
scalpel that shit.
Or just take like a steel fucking buffer and shave it down.
That sound just like hit me in my chest. Yeah.
They give you like a slab of calcium. They're like, here you go.
This
you want
was
to take
you wanna
just
make
a
a
bag of
necklace?
dust that shaved off your back.
You want to make a necklace out of it
Bone
or
dust.
something?
Snort it.
Yeah, get high on your hump.
Rapé that shit.
Oh, shit. This is some
This is made out of
kyphosis
the
neck
hump out of
powder
it.
from an office worker.
Yeah, Karen. A fucking
It's from
Karen.
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 Such a typical office worker name. A
Yeah.
Karen, receptionist.
Speak to the manager haircut.
All that meme. Oh god. Anyway, okay, so I mean, I want to give you the light a bit, man. Like we're just gonna talk forever about nonsense, but like,
Yeah.
tell us about yourself. Like,
okay.
you're a crazy musician. You've been at Jazz Fest. You're on stage with some fucking big names.
I've
and
done
shit.
some crazy shit, and I've also done some like very normal, whatever gigs. Like
It's a hustle. It's a grind.
It's
also,
always a
man.
hustle, and I don't know if it's yeah. Okay, so like I started playing drums when I was 8. My dad played drums too. I didn't know actually that he played drums until I asked him if I could play drums. It was weird. This is
Whoa.
weird. Like yeah,
It's like, yeah, I got a drum kit in the back.
no, he didn't have one anymore. And I think I like wanted to start a band with a friend I had as a kid, and I was like, my mom played guitar. I knew that, and I played a bit of guitar at home, and so I was like, hey Dad, I want to start a band with my friend. I'll play guitar. Can you buy me a drum set for my friend, because he doesn't have a drum set, but he says he can play. and my dad was like, well, no. Like, I'll get you a drum set if you want to play drums. And so to me, like, the drum set was the biggest hurdle, right? Like, if we don't have a drum set, we don't have a band. So I was like, okay, well, that just means I have to do the drums, which is fine. I'll just learn the drums, and then like we have a guitar, so like you play guitar, like that. Like I was like, problem solved, you know. Realistically, I think now that I look back, I'm happy that I didn't play guitar.
But can you bust it out now? Because
I
you're
could-
amazing at the piano.
I could play guitar. I could play almost all the main like
Wow.
rhythm
Band.
section stuff. Yeah, I
And
can
it's like
play.
self-taught, just by ear, or
It's pretty much self-taught.
nice.
Like at the campfire and stuff when I was like I always had that classical guitar that my mom had when I was a kid. I had it until I think it just recently broke. Like
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a sad moment, I'm
Nah,
sure.
whatever. Yeah. It's just life. It's just stuff.
It
you know?
ran its life
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
It served its purpose. But I went to Loyola. I didn't even take music. I was in like science. And then when it came down to choosing a CJEP, I was like, I actually think I want to do music.
Wow.
Yeah. And my uncle has a PhD in music.
Wow.
So I was like, hey, Uncle Pierre, can I take some lessons? Like I have to pass the entrance exam. I need some theory knowledge. So I took a little crash course from him. I got into Vanier. I did Vanier. I stayed an extra half a year because I think I fucked up on like a French class or something. I think a teacher gave me like a 30% on my first essay. 30, and I did the work, and I'm like not a dumb kid. Like I can write an essay, and she gave me
I've
a
heard
30.
you speak French.
Yeah, I'm like my dad's francophone.
Your French is probably better
Like
than mine.
my grandfather, like he passed away on the weekend. But
Condolences.
thank you. But I mean, like he was like one of the biggest people in the province. Like the prime minister tweeted about him when he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So French, like I can do it. Yeah. Anyways, I stayed an extra half a year. Oh yeah, for that I dropped the class, but I didn't drop it. I just stopped going to that class.
Oh, I did that.
So
That's
it counted
bad.
against me. So I had to take an extra semester and do a couple things. But I ended up auditioning at a few places in the States because I had a friend from elementary school who I played with. Like he was like my one friend that played music with me, and he ended up getting into jazz. He ended up going to school in New York the year before me. So like when he went, I kind of got all jealous, and I was like, I want to go too. Like this is what I want to do with my life too. I'm serious too. I want to go too. You know. And my dad paid for me to go. He like paid for school. He paid my rent.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Which is it was like a big sacrifice that he made
Wow.
to send me there. Yeah. And that experience was amazing. I got to study with like people who played on all kinds of records, like big names in the musician world. Maybe not really like as a listener, like if you like, you wouldn't know the people who played with you know,
Okay, these
like
are like
Santana or Bowie or all these people, or like Peter Gabriel. Like all of their musicians were like my teachers and stuff, which is crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
like if you're a snob, but like if you know what you're talking about, you know these names because
Yeah.
they're the guys in the back making the music kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
they're like the guys that get hired for all these, or the girls too. Rachel Z played keyboard for Peter Gabriel, and she was like one of my teachers.
That's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's like you're learning from the best of the
Yeah.
best, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a cool experience because it put like a tangible thing on my dream. I was like, these are people.
Doing
They
what you
don't
wanted.
seem that much smarter than me. Like it's not like they're space aliens. They're like
Yeah.
they're not that far ahead.
It's not black magic.
No, it's
yeah.
just work. It's just like it's focus and it's love and it's work, and you can achieve it. So yeah, I went to school in New York. But then at the end of schooling, I was like, jazz is not really what I want to do, and it was a cool thing to learn. Like I still love jazz. Like I appreciate it when I hear it, but it wasn't my calling. So I didn't really know what I was going to do, and staying in New York didn't make sense because the rent is super high. It's so competitive, and my heart wasn't in it. So I was like, I'm just going to drown here if I stay here. So I moved back to Montreal. I bummed around for a bit. I got some gigs, like, you know, small gigs here and there. And then I met Jonathan Roy, who's the son of Patrick Roy, the goalie.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And he was looking for a drummer, like someone at his label. I had a contact with someone at the label, and he saw that I was going to move back home. So he was like, hey, like this guy needs a drummer. Like you're fresh out of school. You got all the skills. Like, are you down? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. And like we played his album launch. We did a couple of shows over the next like 2-3 years, and then not much came of that, but he's the guy that I still play with now. He's like my main gig, other than Shane Murphy, other than the bar gig, which is fantastic. It keeps me alive.
You guys fucking rock together,
Dude,
man.
Shane is such
You guys
a blessing
melt into
to
a
me,
band
man.
so well. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta come see you guys, man.
Yeah, man. We do every Wednesday night at Honey Martin.
Okay, yeah.
I only went the once, man. You guys still go. I just go whenever I want.
Every
See you
Wednesday,
guys.
whenever
Fuck,
you want.
Man, I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
Mark, it's not far from you.
I had
No,
such
it's
a
on-
good time.
It's on
Oh,
Sherbrooke.
Sherbrooke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Shane is amazing because Shane is like he's a real old school musician. He's a real like motherfucker on the guitar. He's amazing.
So this is tomorrow night you're playing.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
What time?
9:30 ish.
I'll come by.
Yeah, come by.
Yeah,
please.
man. Yeah. I'm going to yoga before. I'll come right after.
All right.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. And yeah, it's just been like since I've been back in Montreal, it's been a series of gigs. Just like sometimes it's at a bar, sometimes it's on a big stage. We got to open up for the Backstreet Boys
Whoa.
Wow.
at the Festival d'été du Québec.
Okay.
Well, that was maybe one of the highlights of my life so far.
That's pretty wild,
The
man.
crowd. Right?
100,000 people.
Holy shit.
Yo, it was like
Whoa.
it was us, and then it was Nick Jonas, and then it was Backstreet Boys.
Okay, describe that. What does that
So,
feel like?
well, we showed up, and the stage is enormous. It's like 8 stories tall or something.
Wow.
And the field is enormous, but it doesn't seem that big when there's no one there. So we were like, I'm setting up my drums like off to the side of the stage while Nick's band is on stage doing their sound check. And like Nick's band is all these dudes from LA, and they're just like gospel chops, like monster musicians. Like this guy could drum me into the ground.
Okay.
And same for everyone else in our band. Like every member of his band could destroy every member of our band. Yeah. So I was just amped. I was just excited. And I remember the stage manager walked over to me, and he was this like skinny dude with long hair and like a big beard and like combat boots on. And he's like, "Salut, moi c'est Cowboy. Bienvenue sur la plaine." Yeah, yeah. He's like, so if you don't speak French, he's like, "Yo, what's up? My name's Cowboy. Welcome to the Plains." The Plains of Abraham, of course, is like the place where they have this giant show every year in Quebec City, and it's like in a field. It's in a giant field, and it fits 100,000 people.
Holy fuck.
And because it was a Backstreet Boys, like it was full.
Yeah.
So I think we maybe played to like between 60 and 80,000, and like Nick Jonas maybe played to like between 70 and 90,000, and then by the end of the night it was like max capacity.
Holy
The girls were so loud in the crowd that I had to plug my ears from just the cheering.
Oh, yeah?
From like they were like, "Oh my god, Backstreet Boys!"
What's the energy like to stare at a crowd of 60,000 people?
Okay,
Yeah. Did you shit?
I didn't shit. I kept it together. We played the set, but it was really just like war mode. It was like a competition. It's like, just do what you have to do. Don't think about the crowd. It's cool that they're there. But I remember like, have you ever seen in I forget which Star Wars movie it is, but there's a scene where like on Naboo or something, there's a party like after the war, everyone is having a party, and it's like a CGI scene, and the sky is like super super blue, and it just looks like a sea of people having a
So this is one of the newer ones.
yeah, I think so. But because it pissed rain during our sound check, and then like as soon as we played, it like cleared up.
Oh, nice.
So there was this like humidity in the air, and it was super super blue, and it looked like I was standing in front of a green screen. It was the weirdest thing.
Oh, yeah,
It
like
looked, it
surreal.
felt like it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see the band, and I could see like the edge of the stage, like all the guys, and then after that, it just looked like there was a projection of like a fake. It was so bright, like so like clear and blue, and anyway, it was very
Whoa.
very cool.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, and then I think the next week I was like back playing at Honey Martin's or something.
With a shit-eating grin on your face.
Yeah,
Transition.
yeah.
Go to 60,000 people to maybe like 50 or 100.
Like 20 people.
Oh, yeah?
Something,
It's
yeah.
a small.
Huh?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a good place, but
it's a
it's
great
like a
room.
hallway.
It's
It's
a
like
tiny
one of
room.
those. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those like squeezed between two places.
Yeah.
Little like dive bar. It's like a high end dive bar. Like I love Honey Martin's.
Honey Martin's is
I don't
great.
know how else to put it. Like they have the trivia nights and shit,
Mhm.
and like it's that kind of staff that like they're like an army. Like they know what's up. They're like, what do you need? What's going on? They're all polite. They're all like, I remember your order.
And it's cash only, and they write it on a notepad.
I love it.
Super old school. Yeah.
That's like the bar next door.
Yeah,
further
same,
down, but they don't play
vibes.
live music there. But it's like,
I think I played there once before it was.
Oh, yeah?
Before it was the bar next door. It was something else.
it's like a chill little spot. Everyone knows each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always regulars.
Like I went there. I used to go there with the H2O team quite often because Mike, our old coach, was like he's friends with the owner, so we go there for like beers every Wednesday night or something like that. And then I haven't been for like a year, and then I show up and they still remembered me and like sent me like free beers and shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, that's so
amazing,
cool.
man.
That's
right.
nice.
Yeah.
Service.
Yeah. It's
Customer
awesome.
service.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and then after that, we toured the country a few times because he was on Warner. Jonathan was.
Okay.
Yeah. So we like went across the country. We like opened for Scott Hellman, for Rhea May, maybe like 2-3 times across the country.
Wow.
And then he got dropped by Warner. But this is actually interesting, because he got dropped, he was free to do whatever he got offered, right? So he had a contact in Hawaii, and this guy Rick Bartolini, and Rick is he's a promoter, and he's
What a name.
he's done like a lot of big shows out there, like Mariah Carey, and I mean, like I'm having a blank on. I mean, I'm having a blank on like the full list of his shows, but he gets the names out there. And so I get a phone call one day from Jonathan, like it's like, I think it's like around Christmas time, and he goes, "Hey, are you free in January? Like in like 3 weeks?" I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "I got offered a gig in Hawaii, opening for Lionel Richie."
Holy shit.
And I'm like, yeah. and he's like, okay, the only thing is it's a duo. So like it's acoustic. So like there's no drums. So like, can you play guitar? Can you play something else? And I had been doing a lot of production. So like I was pretty handy at the keyboard. Like I was like, that was probably my best bet was to play keys. Cause I'd been playing a lot of
but a bet nonetheless kind of thing.
A bet nonetheless. Like it was either like, are you going to play guitar or are you going to play keys? And like Johnny could play a bit of guitar, but 0 keys. So I figured we could get the most music out of me playing keys.
There's those stars again.
There's the stars again. Yeah. So me and my girlfriend, and him and his girlfriend, we went down to Hawaii for 6 days, and we played like my first gig on keyboard. PS, maybe second gig. Like I played at a few bars with Shane. Like. Whatever.
Tried it out.
Yeah, tried it out. Like, did okay. Fucked up a bunch of songs. Didn't really know. And he was like, so he's like, yeah, come to Hawaii, play keyboard in like the biggest arena in Hawaii, sold out.
Holy
The
shit.
Blaisdell Arena, sold out 2 nights,
Wow.
and it was like 5 songs or something. And I was shaking I think that was the most stress I've ever been for like a thing, for like a fight or a gig or whatever. That was probably the most stressed. But like. Yeah, same thing. It's like, 2 nights, sold out, and then you fly back, and then Honey Martin's on Wednesday. Yeah, so it's like it's always been up and down, but I wouldn't have it any other way, man.
That's a wild ride.
It's
man.
a wild journey, and it's far from over.
I love how Honey Martin's is like your save point. Like
it is kind of my save point because like before I played with Shane, I like played with this guy Henry, and we had a weekly slot there on Fridays at Honey Martin. And so yeah, for some reason it's like the save point. It's like the respawn point.
It's your office. It's like respawn's better. That's
the
amazing.
respawn point.
It's going from these giant crowds back to 20. Back to
20. Yeah, just keep it humble.
That's probably good for your head. But how do you feel when you come back? How do you like what is that like? It's like jet lag or whiplash or something.
It's kind of like that. I mean, I feel like obviously I would want every day to be like the Backstreet Boys, or every day to be like the biggest gigs. But it's just not there yet. It's not. It just kind of is. It is what it is, and a part of it is because of like the path that I've taken has been kind of not the traditional path. Like I could have stayed in New York and just been like, I'm gonna be a drummer. I'm gonna be a session guy. I have all these contacts. Like I could have gotten in to big bands. I could have been on the road, but a part of me didn't want it. A part of me wanted to do it my way. I wanted to I want to produce music. I want to make pop music. I don't know. It's all happening at the time it's supposed to happen, I guess.
Yeah, man. That's how it goes. Especially when you take it on yourself and you you kind of went your route.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen when it happens, man. Just feeding the plant till it grows, man.
that's it.
Yeah.
And every plant has its own schedule. You know, it's gonna sprout when it sprouts.
Yeah. And when it does, it's fucking fruitful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like as a producer, I just got my first. I've heard that it's gonna be on the radio, but it's a Christmas song called "Just Us" by Jonathan Roy.
I still didn't check it out.
It's out now on Spotify and all.
I don't have Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
such an
no,
old
it's
man.
on an Apple Music. It's on all the
Can I fucking YouTube it?
all the things. You can also
Okay,
YouTube
that's
it. Yeah.
I got YouTube.
But I've heard through him that it's been added to a couple stations on the radio. So that was like one of the goals, you know, like
Nice.
checklist, get a song on the radio, checklist
Yeah.
achieved. So yeah, it's just like, you know,
A Christmas song, no less.
small
It's so
victories.
rad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like keeping it
Small
active-
victory?
Sorry,
Did you just call that a small victory?
it's a small victory. It's
That's,
I mean,
love your brain, man.
You got to keep the bar low in your mind and just keep raising.
well, that's it.
That's
I mean,
Honey
like
Martin's in your
Justin
fucking head,
Bieber
man.
exists. You know what I mean? Like
That's
I can't. I mean, because also if I get too big in my head and say like I've achieved everything that I
You'll
want to
never get
achieve,
that
I'm
big on the
not going to
outside.
take the next step.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You got to stay hungry.
Your bar is Justin Bieber. You want to get there.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I respect that.
So when you're doing all this kind of work, like, are you goal writing? What's your main motive to keep going and to progress and to excel? Is like you writing things down constantly or stuff?
I don't really write stuff down. I mean, I talk a lot
Okay.
amongst my friends, and I think I use that as like a visualization
Okay.
technique. Like I'm always saying like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna get a song on the radio, I'm gonna win a Grammy. That was the thing that I've been saying for a while. Like I'm gonna win a Grammy.
Nice.
And I guess that's how I stay on track. Like I definitely don't think that like a lack of focus is my problem, but I don't write stuff down. Like I know some people do.
Yeah. It's not. Some people don't too, and that's fine. It's
Yeah.
Like whatever.
But
works
as long
for you.
as you can maintain a focus, I think
Nice. Yeah.
it's helpful. Is that it?
That's my beep beep. No, we got like a half hour.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
the notorious beep beep. Every podcast, it sneaks in there.
Yeah.
Warning. 30-minute warning. That's good. You gotta.
That reminded me of a reboot. Warning, incoming game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta rewatch that show, man.
It probably aged really badly.
They
It's,
should.
like, really
They
cool.
should make a modern like live action reboot. That'd be crazy.
Whoa. I don't know. CGI is so good now. Like I would want to see that kind of like continued or redone or something. Like in
Or a VR experience of reboot.
a game would be
Yeah.
dope because it's a game. It's a
VR
show about
experience, yeah.
games essentially. Actually, they remade
Inception.
the show, but it was like a flop. It was like
I heard about that. I never
Yeah.
saw.
What, reboot?
yeah,
They remade it.
but they rebooted reboot.
I mean, even within the original show, there was like the original reboot, and then there was like the later on
Enzo
when
gets
Enzo was
trapped in the
old
games,
and he was
and then
like
the
all
next
scruffy.
season- yeah,
he was like
Dude.
jacked. Like he was in the game, just like doing steroids all day.
What
Because
always-
no one gets that jacked without doing steroids. Like now that I'm an adult, that I know.
That's
I
a
know
good
what you
point.
did.
Yeah.
It's like, where did you get roids? Like, what's like, because it's like megabyte and the city's called mainframe. Like,
Yeah.
what's steroids like? Did he just
know
have
what
like
you would call it.
electricity or something? Like,
Bomba. I don't know.
The
Or
juice.
or it's just because he's like a CGI character.
he's like, it was
So
just an
it's just
artistic
assumed
decision.
that he's a CGI character. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. And Andrea got hot, bro. You remember the chick?
Yeah.
You remember the freaking
Yeah.
sprite that they stole from a game and then she was like in the real world?
That's
and
true.
she's like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. That's weird.
They just
bro.
made shit up. I really remember that show well.
Yeah,
I could
it's
see your face,
surprising.
the expression on your face.
trying to pull
Dude,
back
what
those
was his name?
files.
Frisket, the dog?
The dog,
We
yeah.
followed
Fuck.
them.
Dude, you have every name.
I'm so
Oh,
impressed
dude,
with you,
on
Savvy,
speed
right now.
dial.
Dude, Fong. Dude, I could quote that show. I remember things Fong said.
Wow.
The fucking little weird dude with the stick neck, and he was
I don't
like
even. I
the-
can't even picture Fong, but I
He
know
was like the guy in the middle of the
I
city
have
who
like
was like
two-
the wise guy.
I got two characters in my mind. That's it.
Dot was the sister.
Dot Matrix.
Bob.
Who's
Yeah,
the one with
Dot
the? She
Matrix.
had the half bang
Mouse.
there.
Oh no, the mask was hexadecimal.
No, she didn't have a mask. She just had like a half green bang, I think, and she was like
That's Mouse.
Mouse.
It's all computer stuff.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I remember it. It's really
But
easy.
the mask face, the one you're talking about, what was her name?
Hexadecimal.
She was terrifying,
She
man.
was the best. She was the best evil character in all of my childhood. I don't give a fuck about Sephiroth or whatever the fuck thing you can think of.
Sephiroth.
Dude, how can you compare? She was insane. She was like the original. She was like the Joker for me. She was like so crazy and like not a bad guy all the time, but just kind of like doing her thing.
And her face would change with the teardrop.
Oh yeah.
You never
I
see her
remember that
face
part.
move.
Yeah.
She would always like flip her hand over it or something. Oh, it was so.
It was
cool.
just
Such a
yeah.
good
She would
show.
just have she would have a mask for every occasion, right?
How high were they for that show?
Oh, dude, you have no idea. You find out later that Megabyte and Hexadecimal are siblings, and they were actually one guy named Gigabyte, and he got exploded and turned into 2 viruses. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like, this show goes deep into some like existential crazy shit, and they just use computers to like do it. Like the Guardians are like the antivirus, I guess, and they have Glitch. They have like a thing on their arm to like do cool shit that other people can't do because it just like turns into shit. But it's alive also, so it's like that's crazy, man. I could talk
Damn.
forever. That
You
show
went
was
deep on
fucking
Reboot,
amazing.
bro.
Dude,
It's just so strange that like the games were almost kind of a storm that would happen.
That's
like,
a
oh no,
perfect
games are
analogy.
coming, the
Yeah.
storm's coming. Well, you know, you should get inside, and then you get like stuck in the storm. You get stuck in the game.
Yeah, and they would run in because they would be evacuating the area, and they would run in because if they lost or no one played, it would delete the whole fucking area. And whoever
Yeah.
got stuck in would get nullified.
Yeah.
And they had these little things
So
called nulls.
So they had to win the game.
Oh my god. Yeah, they would run
User
in.
wins.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, that first time you hear it, that's
Yeah.
that's the end of that season when Enzo gets stuck. We're just riffing on.
I gotta
Reboot
rewatch
now.
the Reboot, man. This is
Dude, let's do it together. I'll just sit there and be like, bro, watch this part. Watch this part.
Do a
Don't
whole-
watch it with me. Yeah, I really like that show. Apparently, I just
watched
loved
the show a
TV.
lot.
I grew up on TV. Like
I
that's
think
made me
I think
who
we
I
all
am.
did.
yeah.
I get yeah, but I
honestly.
had like 14 hours a day sometimes. Like I just
Bro.
that's all I care about is like stories and like watching people and talking. Like that's my life essentially.
It is, yeah. But you have a gift. Like you have the gift of gab for one.
I gotta refine it. I like writing. I like storytelling. I'm 31. I gotta start now. But like fucking
We
fuck
all
it.
gotta start now.
You know, I was talking to someone today, and we're talking about art and stuff, and she's like, I'm a little discouraged because, like, what's the point? So many people are doing so much better out there. And I go, there's nothing new under the sun. That's the point.
I
It's
feel like
just
I'm
fun.
I feel like I'm starting now. Is that weird to say? Like I know I just described how I
Master in
started
training,
when I was
man.
8, but I genuinely feel like there's no time. I have to get started.
Okay.
I still feel like I haven't even done the first thing that I want. Like you know what I mean? Like
That's
I'll
your-
sit
that's
I'll
your
sit
fire,
down to
man.
make a beat, and if it's not good, then I suck until I make a good one, and then as soon as I make a good one, I'm like, I'm good.
You're buying
but
your
tomorrow
self-love.
I have to make another one. Like
Nice.
it's the same as the fight. Like you could win a fight and then you could lose a fight, and like when you win the fight, you're like, bro, GSP, bring them on.
Yeah.
And then the next day, you're like, dude, I'm a white belt. Like
Yeah.
you're only as good as your moment, as your last moment.
That's a very good mechanism to have. Like if you're able to kind of control it,
Yes,
and to
yes.
direct it, because there's a lot of people that have that, but they listen to the opposite one, the one that I suck, and they don't
It can
do
crush
anything.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, like it just works for you. It's your fire. Like for me, it turns into self-loathing. It's like
Yeah.
your self-love is separate from that self-respect. That
I
you
feel the
gain.
loathing, but I
It seems like you got a smile on. You're like, okay,
I feel the
let's
loathing,
go.
but it's almost like
You don't give into it.
I just understand that we all go through this.
Yeah.
So I understand that like any person, and it might be because I met all my heroes when I was like 20 or whatever,
That's a good point.
and that
actually.
like they all seem like they have their
Regular
moments
people.
too. Yeah.
like you said earlier, like they're people. It's
They're
not
people.
witchcraft.
It's
like
not.
that
It's
kind of
not. And so like I always have that kind of thought in my head where I might think I suck right now, but I don't want to feel like I suck forever. So I have to get on my horse. You know.
Nice.
thing. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, the lowest points in our lives. I can't speak for everybody, but in my experience, it's when you know you're in a low point and you kind of dig deeper because you're like, this sucks, I suck. Like you start telling yourself a story. So your story is that's a human thing, and you just kind of like shake it off like a deer.
That's
got hit
it.
by a
Yeah.
car.
That's really that you kind of just hit the nail on the head. I just say like that's a human thing. I'm
Yeah.
like that's just part of this thing that I signed up for.
Nice.
In the simulation. I'm super into that too. I don't know like how much time we have or if you guys want to talk about that. 'Cause,
Let's go
like,
into
Dude, yeah, we got like
Dude,
20 minutes, man.
yo.
We're fine.
okay, the simulation theory blows my mind
It's fucking.
because like
It's insane.
if you can imagine how close we are to creating a video game like that,
Yeah.
where it's completely immersive and we somehow find a way to block your memory, and then we find a way to make all your senses, you know what I'm saying, to make
Yeah.
so like
You watch
you're-
Rick and Morty
Like
ever?
as soon
No,
as
I
when
don't
you
know.
knock
Okay, I
on
don't
wood here in this reality, and then you do that in that reality, like that's when it's paralleled because we're bound by our five senses here. So once this feels as real,
but that's the thing is like now that like as a species we sort of understand that reality is not even really real, like in the quantum sense.
That's what makes it feel like a simulation.
Yes.
When you get into the intellectualization of
right.
it.
So there's that, like stick that as like exhibit A. Exhibit B is like
that's a big exhibit.
It's a big exhibit A, but exhibit B is like if you can imagine that a video game like that is on the horizon, right? In say like 100 years, 1,000 years, it's not that long in terms of cosmic.
1,000's crazy. Yeah, like 100
it's
is
long,
easy.
but
100
yeah,
is easy.
Even 1,000 is literally nothing. Man.
Yeah,
that's
it's
true
not
too.
that. It's not that
not
much.
a lot for. Well, I mean, it's
for
like,
the Earth, it's not that
it's
much.
like
From
10,
our
12
perspective,
people.
Yeah,
10,
it's like
12
12 people away.
Yeah,
from being able to like I mean, arguably even our best technology now could probably immerse your brain in a situation where you really think it's real, right?
You know what's crazy? Well, no, I don't want to interrupt.
Right.
You.
So yeah. So if you can imagine that is a possibility, like if we can all accept and agree that yes, someday soon we'll be able to simulate life, then what, like the odds that is not already happening just go way down. Like as soon as you accept
there's
that
a
it's
logical
possible,
argument there.
That's the point I've been using for a while now. Is it begs the question. Then if we've created, then who's to say we're not already in it?
Oh, sorry, I skipped one. Exhibit C is the value of that experience, right? Because that experience, if you can imagine being like 10 years old, let's say, and you start living these simulation lives, like if we can imagine that we are now in like this above the simulation, right? So you walk into like the simulation office, maybe it's a doctor, maybe it's like a specialist who's like, okay, I'm going to walk you through. These are the lives that I can offer you. So you can be like, be a writer, you can go to war, you can do all these different things. Like pick your life. You can do all of them one at a time. And so imagine a 10-year-old kid goes and lives the life of a writer for it takes 5 minutes. And they live 80 years. Yeah. And they come up and they're like,
I know Kung Fu.
Yeah, I know Kung Fu. Yeah, it's like I just gained the wisdom of an 80-year-old person. And they always say youth is wasted on the young. But if we can simulate life, then that's no longer the case.
What if this is just a giant education right now?
That's what I think it is.
You know, we're just in classrooms. We're like, okay, class, we're in grade 7. We're going to go in 30 lives this year.
Yeah.
Put on your goggles. We're starting.
Yeah. I never thought of it as like in a philosophical, practical way like that. I never.
It's so
that
useful.
would be the ultimate education if you really break it down. Getting 80 years of wisdom within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever long it is.
Yeah, taking someone's life.
Yeah.
Being killed.
Yes.
Going through all these things.
Experiencing everything fucking happening like a curriculum. Okay. Yeah. Like we're easing you into this. You'll have a nice famous life.
You start as a bird. You start as a rock, a plant.
You're a rock for a billion
years. But that's
years.
what I think. That's what like karma might mean. Is like it's a scoring system where like it's experience points. It's XP. Dude. So like when you get enough XP, you can be a higher consciousness being.
That's what they were talking about, the whole fucking Vipassana. He was saying that because we watch a video at night and he explains the technique and it's like a discourse, and he says that we're just a streamline of consciousness going through lives after life, and depending on our karmic points, whether you've had good karmas of the past, you'll have a better life coming up, and vice versa. So it's like it's the same lines of that thought process.
Or if you're a savage, you just choose to do the harder life. You're like, I want the black belt. I want to fight Gordon Ryan.
You know what it's a lottery. You have those options, and then you have the lottery option.
Maybe there's a shuffle.
These twisted guys. I'm pressing lottery every time. Yeah, let's go. 5.
But I also think that
when you're choosing a guy in like Street Fighter and you just press random,
or there's a timer. Yeah, you have 30 seconds to choose. So there's like
who knows? There's so many ways you could set that up. But I also think that like our universe. Like, I think the simulation might not be limited to Earth. Like, it would be crazy if it was like World of Warcraft. If there was like, it was a massive online multiplayer game, and like Sammy is really Sammy or someone out there, and I'm really Mark out there, and we might know each other. We might not.
We might be the same guy in some weird temporal nonsense.
Maybe that's also possible.
It's not linear to time. Like right now, at this very moment, there's someone playing the game in like the 1600s, living the history that we're reading.
Maybe there's also that. But I think that like if you know what I'm saying, like
that's a mindfuck.
Like the question of like who built the pyramids and all that stuff. Like there's also that sort of aspect of like there's probably life that is outside of our planet and that is highly intelligent, and I feel like that's just higher XP. Like there's just higher karma, like people who have logged in and they are in the species that terraforms other planets.
I have so much to add to that, but I don't know where to start. Okay, like Okay, what if there's like, because there's this always this line now of like extra dimensional versus extraterrestrial,
Right.
Like, and then that's where I lost the idea of like a practical philosophical idea for the simulation, because I was thinking that there's not a lot like reflected in like this hyper reality or this like umbrella reality or whatever, this separate reality, this other dimension. Like you create a simulation, you have something that stays, because you have to create based on what you know in some sense. But then if you have like 1 or 2 layers of simulation, you lose information every time. And like philosophically speaking, as soon as you have a second layer of simulation, that third reality doesn't have to do anything with the first reality. So what we're going through right now might have fucking nothing to do with what like the
super reality,
this like uber reality or whatever. And that's what makes me think about when you're talking about karma. Like imagine, like you said, you're a rock. It's not just a bird or something like you talk about
like
Buddhism.
You're literally just.
That's how I see consciousness. If I go back, if I start at the end and I say like I think karma is your mind. I think karma is like the things you have to deal with in your life right now, and that's all it really manifests as. But if you ask like a guru or something like a yogi, they're gonna say that karma is like everything happening. It's action. So we're action. Like the universe just is explosions and nonsense and luck, and maybe there's a bunch of them, and we're the ones that
we are action. That's a great way to say it, because like if we go back to the first thing that we said about us being electric, you're basically an interference pattern.
Exactly. You're a Z pinch.
The energy of your DNA and the energy of the rest of the ether. Like
that's how I see it.
That's
literally how I come to understand it.
We're all suns. We're all Z pinches.
Because think about it. You're a amalgamation of consciousnesses. Like I'm sure I've said this on the podcast, but like even matter, I think you can call it conscious in a sense, because something bumps into something else, it knows it's there. So it's like aware. It's not conscious of itself. It's not even really conscious in the way that we define it, but there's a physical interaction that stops the things from just like neutrinoing through you, like
going
as if
through
you're
each
not
other.
there.
Yeah.
And then you build that up to like simple like elements, and then proteins, and then single-celled organisms and organelles, and you just do that and do that and do that until you get us. We're literally it's all karma.
Yeah.
And like I don't even know where to go from there. It's just fucking trippy.
I don't know where to go from there.
Imagine you got random and you came into the simulation as a rock, and your lifespan's 1,000+ years till some fucking collector guy cracks you open and looks for the diamond or something.
And who says that like that's what kills the rock?
Well, it's not. That's why.
Maybe the rock can choose to log out when it wants. Maybe it has a control alt delete.
You would hope so, man.
There's like a rock.
That's like
god.
the prison, man. You're like that's the prison.
Maybe like we're among prisoners.
Jeez,
you know.
Ooh.
Like the mic right now is just some fucking guy who did something.
Maybe
terrible.
that. I mean,
Screaming
maybe
in
like.
eternity
I mean, if it is like a massive online multiplayer game, maybe you can log in at a clinic or you can log in at a detention center, and maybe like the ones who log in at a detention center get a seriously disadvantaged life, and they have to learn a hard lesson. Well, maybe they're the ones who get murdered.
Maybe Earth is a detention center. A lot of these like spiritual people and like channelers and stuff, they talk about other entities like you have balls to incarnate as a human.
I've heard that a lot too.
I don't want to make that feed my ego, because I'm literally talking about some entity that's fueling my consciousness beyond my fucking consciousness.
But I'll definitely say that like of all the people I've met on this earth, and I've met a lot of them playing at the bars, of all the people that I've met, like the ones who I feel like I can relate to on like an even playing field, like they're a lot fewer than the general population. Yeah. Like there's a lot of like Neanderthal people.
I feel like a lot of people are literally autopilot
like an 80-20
all
thing.
the time.
Yeah,
and it's just like they're programmed go, and there's no actual thought process behind it. It's scary.
Yeah, and maybe those are just like sprites in the game. Like maybe there are humans that are just bots. Fucking sprites.
Oh, that's some solipsism shit. You're going in some dangerous territory.
Maybe there are some people. So maybe the ones that you meet and you're like, yo, you I like, and then the ones that you're just like, you stop talking to me.
The way I see that though is like there's different Earths happening simultaneously. Like in the Celestine prophecy, it's like we connect on some level, and we can create something like a podcast or music or jiu-jitsu, and we can find other people, and we're living in a whole different reality. You talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's living in a whole different fucking plane. Yeah. You guys can talk to each other because he's like a cool guy, let's say, and he'll come down or up to your level and be like, I'm gonna fucking jazz about what I know, but like I know how you think, so we can jive a little bit. And maybe that's the coolest or the biggest or the most useful, the most connective version of Earth, where we can just come down to each other's level and have fun. But there's a bunch of other people, like Aubrey Marcus put it perfectly. He had this vision of like everyone's dancing, like they're all robots, and we're all just doing this thing that, like, we're all just in a program, and it's a collective program.
Yeah.
And then he just had this epiphany because we're all capable of that. But he's like, I don't have to do this, and he just stops. But that dance is like pollution and war and taxation and like
marriage
corruption
and even
all
like
of
even
good
just
or
to
bad,
go
yeah.
through like just to like
all these
look at a
presets, man.
checklist of the preset. Don't turn any knobs.
Yeah.
Just load up the preset and press play.
That's how it's going to play it until you wake up in it and say, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
In a weird way, you just described meditation, though. That's what's funny. You're doing that consciously, like not touching any knobs and but looking at all the knobs.
There's value in all ways, right? Like there's value in the preset, but there's also if you are blind to the fact that you can turn the knobs, then you just stay in the preset, and then you're at a disadvantage. But there's also advantage to
Karma's
staying
running your life
still
at that
and just
point.
be I think we should be like striving for control of ourselves.
Yeah.
Mastery of the mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Mastery of the mind, death of the ego, ego death.
Yeah.
This is some samurai shit.
Yeah.
Are we done? Can we end on that? No, we got a few minutes left. That's
Damn.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
We got 10 minutes. You know
You know
what?
about the Mandela effect?
Yeah, that one's
That's
nuts
fucking
too.
trippy, man.
Is that real? Is that a like a cultural, like a
Do you have a sweater like this?
pop culture thing?
Similar, but not like that.
Do you want this one? I literally bought this for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Fuck,
that's so
it's
nice.
beautiful, man. I love it, man.
I saw that. I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. I saw this and I was like, he would love this. And then I'm like, I think I'm picturing him with it because he has one.
I have the one that I wear at ceremony. It's like
That's it. I was like, if he has this exact one, I'll just keep it.
No,
and
no.
We'll both have weird
But
sweaters.
If it's for you, it's for you.
No, it's for you, man.
I think
I got you a gift.
He bought that for you.
I got you. It's fucking heavy too. I'll
Thank
give it to you
brother.
later, man.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I wanted to do that on the podcast because I want to listen to this like a year later and laugh my ass off.
The Mandela effect.
Do you want to just explain it pretty quick? 'Cause
Okay.
I kind of get confused.
So the
about it.
Mandela effect is called the Mandela effect because
Everyone thought he went to prison or something. Or
everyone thought he
Two stories.
died. Yeah, there's like
go to
yeah, he did. He did
I don't
go
know
to prison.
anything about him.
But some people thought he died in jail.
Yeah, died in jail or became a political figure, right? It was one of the two.
It was the two. Like some people have a distinct memory of him dying in the 80s, and then he died much later.
We're talking
in
about some people. We're talking
timeline.
millions, though.
Millions of people
This is like
have a memory.
on two sides of both memories. That's what's so crazy.
And
about it.
there's like a long list of like small things where something is off by like some name of some like popular product or thing is
the
off
Bernstein
by.
Bears is one of them.
Yeah.
I think there was the Bernstein Bears. You remember that book?
Oh yeah, I remember. I know the Mandela
So,
effect. Like,
how do you remember? You remember it as the Bernstein?
The Berenstein Bears is the way I
Berenstein,
said
yeah.
it because it
Berenstein.
sounds like bear. Berenstein Bears.
Okay,
That's how I remember it.
I don't know if it was Berenstein or Bernstein, but
Well, it's but it's like Berenstein or Berenstein because it's like spelled differently.
Yeah, but also that I don't know. That's
Just
just like
Googling it
the
quick.
spell, the,
you can
how
say
you pronounce
both
it,
ways,
right?
Yeah. Another example was the movie Kazam.
Okay. I don't
People
think I saw
thought it
that.
was because it's like Shaquille O'Neal and he's like
Yeah.
a genie. It's a ridiculous movie. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go watch it when I get home. Actually,
What did they think it was?
I think they thought. I think it's like
They thought it was like
called-
Sinbad or something.
Maybe something like that. Yeah, I think you're right.
okay.
I think you're actually right.
I feel like I have I think it was like Sinbad was the actor instead of Shaq. But it was Shaq.
I think
That's
it was
crazy.
Shaq. Yeah, but maybe I'm just mixing him up with someone else too.
Yeah,
that's
but I
just
mean, like
racism.
the Mandela effect. To me, there's a few of them where you're like, but that I don't know. I could have just like not retained that information.
That's my point with the Mandela effect. People are fucking retarded. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, aluminum used to be called aluminium. Like, that's just the way people say it in the UK.
but
for Mandela is a pretty big one though. It's not
that's
like
the biggest one.
yeah, and
That's
it's
the
not
biggest
like
one.
you're reading a text. It's
So, anyways, what they think
event.
is
I
happening.
guess you're right.
So, like the hypothesis
Multiverse,
is
right?
that or like some kind of alternate timeline. I guess that would be a
yeah,
multiverse.
but there's different universes happening at the same moment, and people are actually like when they collide, people from the different universe are back into our reality, but
Yeah.
they have different recollections of the past.
Or like if you can imagine how they say,
Thinking of this.
because they say like that the universe is so infinite that Sammy exists in every possible incarnation, like every possible
Physically in our
like,
universe,
You just
yeah.
chose to lift your hands there. So there's one version of Sammy where the exact same thing happens, but he doesn't lift his hands,
Yeah.
and then just extrapolate on that. There's an
forever,
infinite So
just
like
because of the sheer size of the universe.
Yeah.
Well, like if it's that big kind of thing.
So I guess like the multiverse approach is that there's all these like adjacent realities where we can just sort of drift between them if the conditions are right.
This is what's fucked up because it's consciousness. So there's like this. We're
It's
talking about like a super self who might be like the source of that consciousness, and then you can keep going up until you're just like it's just all God or whatever you want to call it. So imagine this. Imagine there's like a machine gun. Like this is just a thought experiment, and it's firing like in random trajectories, and like 1 out of 10 bullets you'll be alive. So like you die in all the other universes, but you have to end up in the one that you're alive because that's where your consciousness will reside because the other guys are dead.
It's just gonna go there.
Yeah, so it's like you won't even notice.
You wouldn't even notice. Yeah.
So these people who
I wonder if that's what
manifest
it's
and
like to
stuff,
die. Like you just sort of like collapse to the like you're like, okay, this one's done. Let's
Like,
go to the other timeline.
anytime a car almost hit you or you fell off a thing or whatever, or you don't even know sometimes. Like you almost ate poison or a bullet flew by your fucking head and you thought it was a fly or like all those times you fucking hit you cracked. You hit you kicked the bucket hard. You fucking dropped fucking dead.
It reminds me of the movie The One with Jet Li. It's an old school movie.
I love that movie.
You seen that
seen it,
one?
no.
I know that one really well also. I'm not
so-
going to Rain Man on you guys though.
So basically, he just there's just an infinite. There's not infinite. There's a lot of clones of yourself in different universes or
I think
galaxies.
the logic was that like there's infinite universes, but there's only like 12 where like there's an Earth.
Yeah.
Something cool like that. And every time you kill yourself, this like electric energy sort of like hey,
Gets
full
stronger.
circle.
Yeah.
It disperses to the people who are left.
Who are still left.
And
yeah.
they're smarter, they're faster, they're stronger. It's like a really
the
cool
one-
So
who's
one of
left.
them knows this, and he's going
Exactly.
around the universe killing himself.
to try to gain the power of
But
all
then
of
the
his other
final
selves.
Jet Li is also as strong as him, and then they have like this crazy battle.
Yeah.
They're both everyone's getting stronger as he's killing them.
Yeah.
So the last one is like Mondo strong also, and they're fighting each other.
That was a solid movie. All those Jet Li movies were incredible, man.
That one was crazy though,
was
because Statham was in it,
Yeah,
and it's
true,
like,
eh?
Jason Statham. So
yeah,
Fuck, he was.
dude, he could kick so high.
Wow, man, that was VHS shit.
He's so good at kicking.
Jason Statham.
Not my expertise.
We still got a bit of time.
Kicking's cool. Choking's cool.
So the Berenstain, the whole thing is for the Mandela effect. It's actually Berenstain,
A-N?
A-I-N.
Jesus.
But I remember it clearly as Stein.
Yeah, I remember it as Stein too.
Yeah, so that's
Or
another
Steen or whatever, yeah.
Steen, but like
Because there was a
E-I-N.
show and there was books.
Yeah,
so
but
they
it's
verbally
A-I-N.
said Berenstein at some point.
That's weird.
It's Berenstain. So that's another. This is one of them. This was like when I was looking at Mandela effect.
Maybe
this
the
is one
powers that
came
be
up
are just trying to mess with us.
Yeah.
This is
Throw us
a
off.
red herring.
Yeah.
Like the Illuminati's like, yo, change Berenstein to Berenstein.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
freak out.
Just mess with them.
If you were a time traveler, you might just fuck with people in the
Just
slightest
little-
ways
little-
and
little
laugh
things,
about
yeah.
it.
And at the
table,
same
I
time,
think.
they're like doing some crazy harp, like weather shit or something, or they're like hiding the hollow earth or whatever
they
the
go
fuck.
back.
you know?
They're like,
Imagine.
or maybe they changed something back then, and that was one of the ripples that happened from their change. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
I wouldn't be surprised about. I'm like super open to any. Like, if someone was like, you know, like if aliens landed tomorrow and we're just like, this is how it actually is, and multiverses, I'd be like, cool, sign me up. You know?
Dude, maybe we should end on the dream I had last night.
Yes.
Oh,
What a
what?
mind fuck. I think it has to do with the 10 days of meditation because it was doing with monks. But basically the dream, it was kind of, I was half awake, half asleep, and it came to me in like a vision, so I guess I was dreaming. But it was like this secluded group of monks deep in Tibet mountains, and they just do 20 hours a day of meditation for a purpose to save humanity, and no one knows about their location.
This is real.
But
Or this is in
this
your-
is the dream
in-
I'm having.
okay.
Yeah. So then
It sounds
they're
real.
they're
I'm giving you
meeting up-
background.
they're doing 20 hours every day, and they're meeting up in a discrete location, and they're fighting a group of like these dark aliens in the sky that are also meditating,
Jesus.
causing all the darkness in the world. And there's a constant battle between the two of them controlling humanity's
trying to,
psyche.
like,
That's real, man.
Trying to
I
out-
swear
Bro,
to God,
when I
people
saw
are
this, I
I
was
telling
really
shivering,
think that's kind of. I really think that's kind of how it is.
And it's like they're just constantly doing it. They're constantly going to meditate, and it's just this good versus evil battle against our consciousness. And we're just walking around, and depending on who's winning more that day, that's their
Dude,
state of mind.
I think we have a parasite. I think as a society we have
it's a fucked up
we have
dream,
a
man.
parasite that feeds off of our, like, I feel like there's I don't know how much time we have left, but I feel like there's this like galactic free will law that prevents like what they're doing to us, but
you invite some shit by accident sometimes.
but we are willfully accepting it because like the way that like
you.
the way that but so the way that like money works is it's slavery, but we think it's fair. It's
the way it is.
Slavery disguises
It's
fairness.
like a loophole in the rule book.
And so I feel like they're playing this like rule book loophole on us.
Well, I had that during ayahuasca.
Or that's the school. We got to
Or
bust
that's
out
the
of
school.
that.
I had that during
it's a
ayahuasca
test.
once. That I literally saw free will as your life is already mapped out. Your free will is literally the choice to say yes, resist or accept, resist or accept.
Yes, that's what free will is.
And then like the evil forces are enticing you with their fucking
it's
shit.
like a game.
Yeah,
like,
and then the good forces are trying to pull you the other way, and it's just going on and on and on.
it's like a game on like
beautiful.
on like
mind fuck.
N64 where on like in what's that game called? Turok. The dinosaur
fuck, I
hunter,
remember that.
where you
Yeah,
start and it's like you're in the jungle, but you're really just in like the back of a shoebox, and you can